What's going on, gang? Thank y'all for pulling up. Pull up. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to pull up and then we're gonna go live. How everybody been doing? All right. I'm gonna let a few more people know that we live right now and then we'll get started. My phone. All right, bet. Let's cut this off. All right, guys, what's going on, everybody? I appreciate everybody sliding through. I know this is like my third live stream. I probably look tired as heck, so I had to get the good sunlight to do the video or whatever. But a few people just been asking me to do another live stream, and to be honest with you, I hadn't done one yet because I didn't know what was going on, with everything going on with society. I was watching the election. I was watching coronavirus unfold a little bit more, as everybody really just settled with it, and now state to state ordinance, doing a few things at work, trying to discover, meeting new people and relationships and stuff like that. And so I said, I'm gonna just take a little dip. But I had a few friends a few new friends, I guess I should say, that pulled up and they said, I sent me messages and they were like, when are you gonna do another video? Or the last video that you posted I really resonated with. So it's always been on my mind, obviously doing this series of staying prepared, of talking about the crazy things going on in this world. For those of you guys who really just joined, oh, by the way, this might be 2 videos. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it just under 1 hour. But anyway, for those of you guys that just joined, you probably know that the last video, what's going on, Pop? You probably know that the last video that we spoke about was pretty much about media. And then the video that we spoke about before then was how to better control your mind and know what's going on with your environment. And in the Control Your Mind video, we touched on a few points that talked about what makes people triggered, how long people can get triggered by an event or by something traumatic to them or that affects their mood. We talked about temperaments, personality traits, and mood, temperaments, personality traits. And then we moved over to the media. And the reason why we did it in that order is because we needed to show the difference of what's going on in your head and what people are trying to put in your head, right? When you consider things like coronavirus mandates or acts of insurrection or whatever. And I hope my live didn't get taken off because of that. Also, real quick note, for those who are watching this from YouTube, I definitely appreciate the support on YouTube. We're gonna do more on YouTube and I'll talk more about that. So we can pretty much just talk about the future of doing live streams on Instagram and what's gonna take place on YouTube. For those that don't know, I do have a YouTube and it's called Darby's Room. You can go check the lives that I've done before on my Instagram TV, or you can just check them out on YouTube. I prefer you check them out on YouTube. But pretty much the direction of this series, the direction of doing something like a YouTube would be, lessons for young black men. I really feel like between the ages of 14 to 25, 26, a lot of young black men are lost during these times or are losing their identity, their masculinity, their, just who they are as young black men are trying to find themselves in a crazy world. So I like to speak more towards them because, to be honest with you, that's what I want to work on in future projects, how I can add to my community. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Appreciate y'all sliding through. Besides lessons for young black youth, pretty much just all men, I want to take the direction of any content that I put out and really talk to my brothers, of course my sisters, but with me being a guy, with me being a man, I want to speak to those who are supposed to be pillars in our communities as well. So I want to make sure I leave a positive impact on those who are most similar to me. So that's why I say, the future direction of my channel would be talking more towards that. Another thing I want to talk more about is 3 things, and then I'll shave down and see what people really like. It'll be prepping, how to be a responsible citizen, family member, what to stock up on, how to protect yourself. We'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about things like spirituality, how to stay in control of what you're consciously attuned to, things like that. But, with us being in Black History Month, I've been doing so much research, and it's crazy how February really just pulled up on us so quick. But I'm glad we kind of spoke about Black history in a few of our other live streams. But with this being Black History Month, we need to dive deeper into what's going on with society, what's going on with pretty much everything. And I mean, the reason why I'm laughing is because it sounds like I'm being funny, but I'm extremely disappointed in a lot of things that I've seen. And it's not funny, it's like shocked, because we do so much. And when I say we, I'm not talking about everybody, I'm talking about somebody that's not watching this video, right? But we do so much talking about Black power, Black preparedness, but then when you look around, you see a lot of stuff that doesn't add up. And then you kind of feel like you don't have a place to speak on certain things. And why is that? Why can't I not speak on the grotesque nature that we are just allowing to take place in our communities? What makes people feel like that ever added to progression in any ancient Black civilization? But we'll hold on that and why that's important and why it's okay to look around and be like, man, y'all really got me high right now. But the reason why I want to talk Black and Black History Month is it's some don't let media, don't let education or the education standard tell you what Black power is. And the reason why I say that is Black people on average have a $17 trillion spending power. I can't remember what the average Black spending power is. Let me see. Black America spending power, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we often hear, oh, Black people are at the bottom, Black people don't have the means to survive, Black people are struggling. Yo, we have a $3.9 trillion buying power. It's almost like when you reference the movie Black Panther, right? And the reason why I'm bringing Black Panther up is because I freaking love Black Panther. But when you reference the movie Black Panther, what did you see? They were talking about this poor country in Africa, when really it was like the most technologically civilized country in Africa, right? And they hid themselves. When you talk about Black people, we hear so much from the media, we hear so much repetition in our mind that we broke, that we down and out, that we defenseless, that we need everybody's support, that everybody has the answers for us, when really, the more we band together on things like spending power, the more we put our money in the right place, the more we set ourselves up for success. We got enough money to privatize our own military, our own police force. 3.9, Black people have 3.9 on average yearly trillion buying power, and we told that, we don't have enough for ourselves, or we can't take care of our families, or healthcare isn't abundant for us, and or our minds aren't as brilliant and great as they are. And the reason why I'm saying that's what we're told is because that's what's properly packaged in a statistic or in a news article or feed. What's going on? I appreciate everybody pulling up. So with black people being so powerful and our $3.9 buying power, how can we use that for our advantage? We can practice things like group economics, right? Group economics is really important for us to be practicing during these times. What I've practiced with my family is group economics for quite some time. Like, we will stay not in the same unit, but we'll try to stay in the same apartment complex, speak to the managers about something at the same time, regardless of what it is, pool our money in when we buy cars from the same dealership, or try to meet, just anything. Any way that you can practice group economics with your brother, with your sister, it'll make you feel more powerful during these times. So that's something, we should be tapping into. Another reason why I've just been sitting back in shock, is because let me pull this article up that's really just got me my mind boggled, right? So I was looking up the way that the military has been using melanin for research, right? And yes, you heard me correctly. The military has been funding research on melanin. I'm about to pull up this article. Give me 1 second. I'm about to pull up this article. I want to show y'all something. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. Let me just pull it up on my computer. One second. So, again, when we can consider Black History Month and we consider all these things that okay, so here it is. And this is on the SBIR.gov, production for natural melanin for affordable EMP. What does it say right there? That department right there. That department right there is the military. It says Army, right? So the branch of the government, hold on, I'll pull it back. I'm sorry. The agency is the Department of Defense, right? The branch is the Army. Now we talking about, what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for coming through. We talking about Black Power, right? We talking about Black Power. I appreciate everybody being in here. And you're going to want to watch this to the end of the live streams. Some things I may say might be offensive, but I really don't care because you really need to hear this. Anyway, the agency, Department of Defense, the branch, the Army, since 2019, and maybe this is where, when you consider things like where all these, almost the same number every year missing women and children going, Black women and children, right? But anyway, since 2019, technology areas, materials. So we're not talking about weapons. We're not talking about gases. We're not talking about things like that. We're talking about the technology area that the Army is looking at is materials. And the objective, prototype solid melanin-based material for additional application testing, such as harvesting thermal energy for cold weather vehicle clothing coating, EMP shielding, radiation shielding, countermeasures, stored energy, and energy release. We're not talking about any type of thing you can buy in the store. We're talking about melanin. We're talking about the SBR.gov is researching how they can use melanin as EMP shielding. If you don't know what an EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. It can fry technology. If an EMP attacks, it'll fry all devices. Planes can fall out the sky. Look it up. I'm not playing. An EMP attack could be very deadly. So the Army is researching how they could weaponize melanin to store energy, release energy, radiation shielding. So when you think about the UV rays, how Black people aren't as prone to skin cancer as our white counterparts. You think about things like that, that's radiation shielding. We're not getting cancer from radiation. The sun isn't harmful radiation to us. We have radiation shielding in our skin. So I'm gonna read this description and then I'm gonna move on to another topic, right? So in this description, and again, you can look this up for yourself. Just do a quick Google search for U.S. Army melanin research, and look at the the SBIR.gov. But anyway, description: melanin is a biological polymer that possesses many desirable properties with clear Army applications in dampening radar signatures, which means you don't show up as much on a signature with the biological polymers that melanin consists of. So you wouldn't show up on a radar looking for signatures. Well, it's not that you wouldn't show up, but it dampens detection. Just in melanin alone, they're trying to research that, they're trying to study that. So I'm looking up the definition of polymer just so I can make sure I break it down. But what is polymer before we get started? Polymer is a substance that is a molecule structure consisting chiefly or entirely of a large number of similar units bonding together. So you think about melanin, we already know that about ourselves, but let's just go with the definition of what the Department of Defense calls melanin, right? So melanin, the description of melanin again is a biological polymer that possesses many desirable properties with clear Army applications in dampening radar signatures, EMP shieldings, radiation protections, cold condition protections, energy storage, transconductions, circuit material. Naturally produced melanin absorbs energy in many different forms: UV, so light, the sun; visible light; ionizing radiation; or electromagnetic. It binds toxic materials. So let's stop at binds toxic materials when we describe, for those who just joined, what the Department of the Defense, the branch, the Army. Let's stop at when they talk about naturally produced melanin. We're naturally produced melanin, right? So they say that naturally produced melanin absorbs energy in many different forms, but it also binds toxic materials like metals, ionizing agents, and free radicals, whatever that part means. But let's go back to it binds with toxic materials like metals. Research has shown that the reason why African history has a strong use of gold is because it increases our biosphere. So we look at our brothers, right, in the entertainment industry. What's going on, y'all? I appreciate y'all coming through. Smash the like button for me, or the whatever the little heart is. Smash that for me, YouTube. Not YouTube, Instagram. Anyway, we were talking about the entertainment industry, right? We see our brothers, right? We spoke about in the last live stream. If you haven't seen that, go look it up on Instagram TV or YouTube. But we spoke about how not semantics. I forgot the word, but it's the study of sound. How sound can be used and just the vibrations of sound can be used to cellular regrowth, different things like that. We were just talking about sound last time, but we can trace that back to its heavy usage in African history, right? We can trace that back to, the bongos, all different types of African drums that move our souls, or just being musically inclined to stay within rhythm. But besides that, we also see how our ancestors have used minerals to increase their biospheres, to make their cities run more efficient. But now we see that the Army has clear applications and intent for using melanin to bind with other toxic materials. So the reason why, we could just stop here or we could keep going, y'all let me know. But So check this out. Experimental mice injected with melanin survive otherwise lethal doses of gamma radiation. Experimental mice injected with melanin survive otherwise lethal doses of gamma radiation. Melanin absorbs solar radiation. And what is it? Could be used to improve solar panels for energy harvesting. Melanin absorbs solar radiation and could be used for solar panels to absorb energy harvesting. It don't sound like your best friend trying to discover how to use melanin, man. Like we have to keep our eyes open. But we'll go run down and have full faith in something like a vaccine and feel like that's our salvation. And for those who ask me things like, hey man, where is your faith? Where is yours, bro? Your salvation is in a mask. Your salvation is in an injection that's been rushed within a few months of discovering this virus. I encourage you guys to research what's going on in China with the Chinese Uyghur camps. I encourage you guys to research things like human trafficking and the intent for human trafficking, the science applications in human trafficking, and why certain groups do it and not just perverts and pedophiles do it. Like, look up these things and you'll see that they're not conspiracy, man. So then going back, we talked about black money. We spoke about black spending power. We spoke about melanin and science. I was about to talk about black influence, but I really don't know what much to say on that. I really don't, because I feel like a lot of people right now aren't being the leaders that we need. A lot of people cower to something as long as it's a social norm or something that's new. And I know people are dropping off the live now, but I'm gonna talk about it. But a lot of people are falling back, and behind closed doors, they'll tell you, man, I don't approve of this. Like, did you see that? That was crazy. Or these challenges on Instagram are doing too much. But when we look at things like that, we can be told that we unprotected. We can be told that we broke. We can be told that, we're at the mercy of every cop that drive by us. We can be told that half of the United States population is out to kill us, get us. But then when we look at how we've been influencing ourselves lately and allowing others to influence us, is that really, like, when you consider it like the login on your phone, is that really what you want your kids to see? If they're able to, track what we putting up of ourselves, and we spoke about this last time, but OnlyFans sounds so much like a menu, and we look at how black women were displayed in the slave trade, right? So we have our civilization pretty much, all right, this is the front of her, this is the side of her, this is the back of her, by now. And we're doing that all over again. But we feel like it's power because we in control of it. And then our brothers, when guys like me speak against that, like, hey sister, it's way more sexy with your clothes on, or, the money is in this, or this is that. You have brothers that say, oh, don't speak against black women. First of all, I'm not a beta male, man. I'm an alpha male, bro. I speak on my community. I don't attack no woman. I don't attack my brother. I speak on my community. So when it comes on things that affect our next generation, we got to be smarter. So if I tell my sister, hey, this is just something that you might find that could lead you in the best direction, or if I tell my brother the same thing, that might not be what they want to hear, but I'm only saying it out of love, and it doesn't have to be received well. I'm gonna keep going. I don't have to talk to you or communicate with you. I've been hearing, I heard this statement for the first time in my life, like less than 2 weeks ago. And now I keep hearing it. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. And when you consider everybody been talking, or king or queen, first of all, every king wasn't a good king. It was some kings that sold their people out to when they knew that they were about to be conquered. It was some kings that stole everything from their people. It was some kings that set their people up. I think I already said that. It was some kings that polluted their communities. So all kings ain't good kings. So going around calling every man a king when you know he ain't for you, or when you know he out here corrupting the mind of young black men to make them fall behind him because he feels like, or he's teaching the community that gangs are cool, that drugs are cool, that, you know, things like that. You know, you get somebody that offer you, some illicit drugs, that person sees something in you that could take you to the next level. And they a spirit that's holding you back, man. That's true. That's true. So when you consider things like that, you see that we have a huge effect on each other. So when I talk to black men, what I'm trying to say to black men is, it's time to stand up, not sit down, man. You consider things like women's rights, right? Women less than what, 60, 70 years just got the right to vote. Now we sharing not sharing. Now we taking what's special for women, like women's sports, and we putting men in it, or we're just taking the time for women to have their what they should have had in society, what was booming for us in ancient African society. We stepping all over, and I don't think people are really understanding that certain things are really showing a man's dominance in a place where women should feel comfortable enough to thrive, or having a perversion or outlook of what you think a woman should appear as, and you still in what really makes a woman special. Like when you're talking about the ability to procreate, when you're talking about kids walking out of the portal of a woman, and as we all have to be in existence. We talk about all these things that make women special and great, and we force this narrative of what we feel like inclusion is, what we feel like diversity is, and we stepping all over our women to get there. What kind of place is that? So now we're on the topic of women, right? Let's talk about black women, right? So when you consider Adam and Eve, right? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, let's talk about the parable of Adam and Eve. They were sent to have dominion over the earth, to name every animal, to procreate, right? Things changed when Eve said, hey, this good. A woman's approval of something, whether it's good or bad, will change the direction of a man's heart, man. Like, we want to please our women. Women are not to blame for things going wrong. I would never say that. It totally contradicts everything I've been saying. But when our sisters make a mistake, and we as men, we don't stand up to be like, hey, sister, this, or at least use our voice. You know, everybody don't want to hear what you have to say. You don't have to say everything all the time. But you will know the right time where you should say something, but you thinking, or it might not be received well. You'll know those times, right? So when we look around what the norms of society is accepting now, just not standing up to things like vaccines. When we look at a challenge that hypersexualizes a challenge on Instagram and Facebook that hypersexualizes the women of our community, which adds to the rates and just constantly grows the rate of those who are being sold into human trafficking. The little things we do, for example, if I smoke, I might have somebody around me that says, I'm gonna give smoking a try. So when we hypersexualize our community, when we know we have human trafficking, sex offenders, abuse against children at an all-time high, in my opinion, we are contributing to this satanic, this sick industry, right? So when we consider, well, what roles do our sisters have in the community? I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on everything. I'm only speak on what I know don't make sense to me. if when our women stamp an approval of something, we're gonna explore it. For example, we know how to treat women, but we know more how to treat women based on what women tell us is acceptable and not, right? So if you a man, say in your 30s, I'm pretty sure you've been well versed with what's okay with women, what's not, from your mother, your sisters, whoever you have, a child with, your wife, your girlfriend. You're well versed on what's acceptable to women. But you've also bumped your head a few times where she was like, hey, don't come at me like that, or that's not cool, or that's not the way you talk to a woman. I just personally feel like I really wish that more women would stand up to what we know in our heart and behind closed doors is not okay. Far more women tell me that they don't agree with things like OnlyFans than do. So, and I keep referencing that because it's the first thing to come to mind. I'm trying to keep rolling. But I'm not just saying OnlyFans is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But because OnlyFans actually used to be used as a place where only your fans of your fans came to check out what you were doing. OnlyFans wasn't a sexual app. Like, if that's so hard to believe, it wasn't a sexual app. It was an app from people from Twitter, from Facebook, who really supported you. It was almost like a Patreon where they could pay a set amount a month and you could show like a video of you cooking, or you probably wanted to get more into detail of who your kids are. People could pay to see your children on OnlyFans and see pictures of your family, things like that. OnlyFans wasn't its intended purpose wasn't supposed to be sexual, right? But we're following in hard times. So more things are gonna be hit in a time of when people are looking for the next wave to take care of themselves. All right. So going back to the story of Adam and Eve, right? Personally, what resonated with me is a woman's approval can really change. I wasn't supposed to, but yeah. So you look at things where deep down in your heart, this ain't cool. Well, ladies, like, let's stand up for what's not right, man. If we know it's not right, say it's not right. We're living in a time where we need to, if we feel like we're powerless, at least use your voice. If you feel like you're being overpowered in the parking lot, and I'm talking to women right now, what you gonna do? You gonna scream, right? Or if you know you're on the Titanic and the ship going down, we need to start using our voices to wake up our neighbors of, hey, this is not okay, this is not acceptable. There are certain things we need to change. And like I said, I hate I even gotta say this, but I ain't out here attacking people. I'm really just speaking truth. Like, we say it's just cool for the adults, but more and more kids are seeing what we allow, and we are allowing it. And if men feel like, oh, it's a time where it's, if we're going after women greatness, or we're propelling women forward, I don't need to speak on these things, man. You can still contribute and say, hey, you look great with your clothes on, man. Or, let's work on your resume so you don't feel like you gotta make an OnlyFans account. Or I can show you how to transform your LinkedIn. Or I pick your son up and take him to get his haircut. Or have y'all gotten out on a walk? Let's get some fresh air. Find ways to get back to your community, men and women. Don't allow things that look good what the next sister is doing, or you see some. I know some women that have saying, man, I know this girl, she make a lot of money. And then they go start a business the next month. And it's like the most beautiful thing. And now they marketing themselves online. And they just doing everything they can to, I love that. That really, if you can't tell, it makes me happy to see like my sisters really be on top of owning businesses, or transforming industry norms, or speaking about things that allow us to own a more holistic nature, things like that. I don't know. So, I'm just saying, the stamp of approval of our sisters is very powerful. I guess I went rambling for a second. So what our sisters are approving of is even as powerful, man. So, it's really sad times when we feel like our sisters have to go do every challenge, open every account that the girl is doing, when really it doesn't show us in the best of light, and our children are looking at that, right? Because I would say our children are humiliated when we display ourselves in a manner that's not the best light. When they become, or we set this, if they're not humiliated, like, oh my gosh, what was my parent doing? We either setting a standard, right? All right, let's keep on moving. So we were speaking about things like, hold on, let me just say this. History is written by the conqueror, man. History is written by the victor. History ain't written by the oppressed. The conquerors will tell you what happened. The conquerors will indoctrinate you, tell you what's right, tell you what's wrong. So when we look at people, and when we say, who's funding things like hypersexualizing our women? Where do we get this budget from? Or when we remember what happened and where that drugs were dumped off in our community, when we reference the Tuskegee experiment, we ask ourselves, and like I said, this might be too loud. I'm really going to a Super Bowl party, but I might just be late for it. But when we speak about these things, what makes it easy, or why are certain groups human trafficking our community, or doing advanced research on how to weaponize melanin? When we think about things like that, we have to consider who is the shadow government. The reason why I'm breaking this up into 2 live streams, if this hits an hour, I have to restart it. But besides that, I really want to talk about how we should prepare ourselves for times to come, agendas to be placed on our communities, little things like that. But when we consider who's attacking our community, what's going on, y'all? Let me say hey to all y'all that just joined, by the way. Who's attacking our community? Hey, I appreciate it, Zay. I'm gonna keep it going, bro. I'm not going nowhere. Love you, bro. Nathan, what's going on, man? Look, I meant to get back with you on Facebook, but it got so busy during the day, and then I took a nap and I ain't wake up for like an hour, bro. So I apologize. When we consider things like, what's this force that's unleashing things like, I don't know, civil unrest or biological weapons? I like to call them the shadow government. Few people call them the shadow government. Then you hear the New World Order. You hear the terms like Illuminati. What's going on? What's going on? What you say, bro? Do your thing, bro. I appreciate it, bro. I love you, man. You a good man, bro. Especially from school and just seeing you in young adulthood, and I know we don't agree on everything, but I really enjoy talking to you and keeping it going. I love to see you more, man. But anyway, I like to call them the shadow government, New World Order, whatever. But I really want to stick to this list. To be honest with you, I'm thinking I might end it right here. No, we need to talk about the shadow government. All right. So I'm looking at my notes. It's about to get real. Because again, why I hadn't made a video in a long time is because I was looking at the election process. I was looking at the Capitol and how people digested that. I was looking at the race with the vaccines. I was looking at all these different things. So I hadn't really just made a video. But something else I want you guys to look up is Dwight Eisenhower, right? One of our former presidents. He spoke about he had a farewell speech, and on his farewell speech, look up Dwight Eisenhower farewell speech. And on Dwight Eisenhower farewell speech, he talked about the military-industrial complex, right? And one of the things that he said in his farewell speech, and on the topic of the military-industrial complex, is only an alert and knowledgeable citizen. That's what really stuck out to me. will be able to know what's going on in the future times. They said this in the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1950s. They were saying that only an alert and knowledgeable citizen. So when we consider who are we as black people living in end times in the last days of America, when we consider who are we as oppressed people, are we just twerking online? Are we just dancing like ain't nothing about to happen? Or are we literally doing our research, man? We can speak about this later. Something y'all need to look up though is the secret space program. Look up the law correspondence, right? Look up 0 point energy. I'm just looking at a few of my notes. Look up Project Paperclip, the infiltration after World War II. Look up Project MK Ultra. I don't know. I had a few other notes that I wanted to talk to you about, but I kind of don't see them right now. I kind of don't see them. Oh, but here's another thing we should consider. We should also stop calling everything conspiracy. A lot of things are investigative journalism. You are about to put like a concoction into your body that someone said this is what's best for you. Like, we have to do our research, and those that are coming to you with information, people aren't trying to give you conspiracy, man. People are giving you independent, investigative journalism. We need more of that in our community. That's actually how big media institutions were formed. You know, I'm just looking over these notes because I want to move on to like preparedness skills, survival skills. So I really want to get through these. So let me just look at these notes. I looked through one, I got this one, and then this one. Then we're gonna get out of here. We might just be able to keep it in one live stream. Let me see. Okay, so when we talk about things like who is the shadow government, who is the Illuminati, right? Little things like that. We have to consider, we wouldn't know who the 1% is. That's why everything looks like conspiracy. The 1%ers, right? The 1%ers controls the rest of the 99% by by treating the 5%ers, which is your influencers, your celebrities, your politicians, to have total control on everybody else. So, you know, you wouldn't know who these people are or their children, right? But they are a small group of people who are very powerful. And I know it sounds like now I'm talking about something totally crazy, but they have a lot of money, technology, and information that they've acquired pretty much over centuries. So I don't want to sound crazy, so I'm gonna skip these. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about them because I know some people gonna come in like, what are you talking about? Let's talk about. Now I'm gonna skip these. Oh, Akhenaten and Nefertiti and their daughter, right? I forgot her name, but marked her in or something like that. But you see, like, African history, you see a lot of people wearing, let me show you. Now I'm gonna skip it. But you, hold on, I'm gonna skip that. Pretty much, I'm gonna skip the shadow government and who they are, bro. But when you're dealing with a society that has their control on a lot of people, when you're dealing with a society that pretty much can have their way, you know, can tongue twisted, can control the media, the narrative, the best thing to do is to educate yourself, arm yourself with knowledge, read your Bible, draw closer to your friends, practice group economics, study Black history, what worked. What really bothers me, and now at this point I'm ranting, so if you gotta go, I definitely understand. But when you look at Black history, like ancient Africa, let me show you something. I just Googled, right, ancient Africa. I want to show you something. Now I'm just looking at images. When you Google ancient Africa, I mean, you see a few little structures. But when you look up ancient Africa, the only thing you see is a whole bunch of maps. Personally, for me, you see a whole bunch of maps. Look, you see a whole bunch of maps, a few of those in some pictures or images. It's almost like they scrubbed the internet of real artifacts, real archaeological digs. Unfortunately, we have to do our research for ourselves. But when we do our research on what it means to really say Black power, when we do our research on these politicians and we see people like, I'm gonna just straight up tell y'all, I don't like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I don't like them. I don't like Joe Biden because he's been in office for over 45 years. And a lot of his policies have been very racist. What's going on, bro? I'm going on. My G said keep it going. All right, bet. All right, I'm gonna tell you why I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden because he's been in office for over 40 years. A lot of things Joe Biden says he wants to change, he partook in doing it himself. A lot of people think Trump's wall, right? And am I for the wall? No. Am I a Trump supporter? No. I see through the bullshit, right? Excuse the language, but I see straight through the bullshit. But anyway, we've already had a wall since 2008. Let me show you the 2008 Wall Defense Act. We've had a wall since 2008, Security Defense Act, and Joe Biden signed it. It's been since 2006. We've already had a wall, bro. If you go from the United States, right? Somebody traffic you from the United States, and I'm in Texas, so I'm right next to Mexico. They traffic you from the United States and cross you over. Bro, you can, once you in a third world country, they can send you anywhere in the world. They can send you anywhere in the world. Ain't nobody checking for you. You're gone. Like, people looking in the backyard, you already gone. So, do I feel like we need, and let me say this too. I know people who are actually working at the border right now. I know Black women actually working at the border right now. And they tell me and they've been working at the border since Donald Trump was president, but they told me how the process goes. Once they find someone who's illegally crossing the border, they do detain them for a brief period to understand why they're trying to get into the United States. If they have a good enough reason to get into the United States, they will help them get into the United States. If they vet that person and they find out that that person is on any type of list or something like that, then they will keep that person detained. They will hand them over to whatever authorities. You have literally, and you can Google this on the Justice Department's website, over 1,000 known terrorists came in the United States just in 2020 alone. We're traveling through the United States in 2020 alone. Now, who is a terrorist? We've recently seen what a domestic terrorist is in the eyes of the United States now. So the smallest thing could make you a terrorist, but these are international known terrorists that have been traveling through the United States. So the reason why I would say I don't really like Joe Biden is because I can't be fake, right? If somebody's been in office for over 45 years, if they have the 94 crime bill, and that's something that they proposed, and I know black men within my family, not even name it outside of my family, just within my family alone, that have been imprisoned by the 94 crime bill for far too long. If I know that this man has said on video, we don't need any more nigger big shots, we already have a nigger mayor, or black kids are just as smart as rich kids, I don't know. I just really don't resonate with him. Or, peace be upon the sister, Kamala Harris. If like I've had to prove my freedom before, prove my innocence before. I've had to do that, so I know what that feels like. I know how scary that can be. It cost me $11,000. Cost me. I was homeless. I had to prove my innocence and my freedom and something before. But it was a lot of uproar and a few people upset that she hid exculpatory evidence in a few cases to keep her conviction rate as high as it could be as district attorney. So if you are hiding exculpatory evidence that's going to prove my innocence to keep your conviction rate high, I really just don't fool with that. Also, I saw a lot of my black women and black brothers get their education under the previous president. So when you just was comparing the two, even though I didn't vote, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in casting the ballot, a cast, a projection. I don't believe in doing that with these fools. So, but when you compare the two, I just didn't like Joe Biden. I didn't like to see how people easily forgot about the racist things he said and easily said, well, that was then, this is now, he was better than the last guy, I really didn't really care about that, but so what? We'll live to see another day. But, let me see. The next video, we'll really get into like preparing and survival skills, stuff like that. What's going on? Yo. I pretty much think that's it. We talked about everything. That's pretty much it. At this time, I really want to do another video, and I hope I do one soon, but if something crazy goes on, I think I'll just be sitting back watching how people react to it versus being so quick to give my comments, because I never thought we'd go into a time to where people would deem everything that we say conspiracy theories. Or if I say, I feel like something was rigged, I could be deemed a domestic terrorist just because of my thought. Anytime you mobilize the military to silence domestic thought, domestic speech, you have a problem. So I feel like, everything that's been going on lately has been to push people to be easily classified. Right off the bat, I was 100% like everybody else was going on. I was like everybody else when you considered possibly being a little bit like what's going on when you considered the Capitol event, right? But it just, to me, in the way I think, and going back to our first live stream, we talked about changing people's moods, temperaments, personality traits through refractory periods. To me, it just screamed a setup. To me, personally, I feel like it was two lines. I feel like it was the people on the front who went in, right? Then it was the people who just felt like it was something going on. Like, I feel like something's fraudulent going on, and they felt like their voice, they could do something, they could say something. But the people on this front line pretty much controlled the narrative. I saw a video that somebody sent me, that the crazy Wookiee-looking guy that was sitting in the Capitol seat. It might be so funny to me. But I saw him, that he was a known member of some type of social group, or that he was talking to and then I saw another video of him talking to the police staff in there. But who's to say the guy's not arrested? But like I said, it's been at a place to where I've really just wanted to observe the way people think more so than give my 2 cents and my input, because I really feel like people are eating up everything they're being told. And I feel like the way we think or the caution that we have, or going back to Dwight Eisenhower's what was it? His farewell speech when he said, it takes a well-informed citizen to be consciously attuned with what's going on with the prison industrial complex. I just feel like, why are we not being responsible? Why do we take every opportunity? Let me tell you what turns me on, man. When I get off work, right, I give me a little drink. I start researching Black history. I start researching what Black people were doing before the transatlantic slave trade, how they were moving, what kind of fights that they were. My favorite group of Black people were the Cushonites. Why? Because it sounded like Cush. And then secondly, because they were one of the strongest of African soldiers in ancient Africa. I don't get caught up in feeling like my sisters ain't protected. Why? Because I'm out here trying to protect my sisters. Or if I can say something in a Facebook group that I'm managing that speaks against human trafficking, that causes someone look or keep an extra sense of awareness. If I could help my sister with something or my brother with something, if I could help somebody with a resume, I'm doing any and everything I can to help my community. I'm not just sitting back thinking we don't have what we need, or I guess I should say. So I really appreciate y'all coming through. I'm super late for the Super Bowl party. But I really wanted to talk to you guys about Black power and why, our melanin in our skin is important. What's going on in this world. It's throwing me completely off. So I'm about to go ahead and get out of here. You guys keep it easy, man. Like, if you didn't catch it, go to the top of the live stream. I'll also put it on Instagram. But this is something that you guys really need to watch. Like it, share it. Peace. I'll see y'all later.